I'm Meghan Sterling with Making Moms Strong. Today's topic is relaxing. Isn't that something we all need to do more of, or maybe want to do more of in our busy, busy lives as moms? We're going to speak and think and practice really specifically about relaxing your pelvic floor. If you've read the blog, you have a basis of understanding that relaxing the pelvic floor is so important to pelvic health. You would never in a million years walk around all day with your biceps, at half-mast, partially tensed, not relaxed, and not fully contracted. This isn't functional, nor would you strengthen your biceps in this range. So this is a really great example to use because we can't see our pelvic floors. A lot of us have a hard time relating to our pelvic floors. But we know our bicep, we can touch it, we can see it. It's very easy to understand. In order to have a strong bicep, you need to fully contract your bicep, fully relax your bicep. Both are very important. So this is our example. You would never walk around like this. Similarly, we don't want you spending all day partially tensing your pelvic floor, that bowl of muscles that's the hammock that really supports everything all the way up through the top of our head. These muscles need to be able to fully contract when we need them, and they need to be able to fully relax when we want them to relax. When we're teaching you exercises here at Making Moms Strong, a lot of times we'll say take a deep breath in, and then exhale, engage your deep core. Both are very important because as we breathe in, our diaphragm's releasing, our pelvic floor's releasing, everything is dropping. Then as you exhale, the TA draws in, the pelvic floor draws in, and you're strengthening. But we also want you to relax in between sets, in between exercises, with everything you do. We don't want you to get a pelvic floor that spasms. We don't want you to have a pelvic floor that has a sense of that false strength, we call it, where it's tense, but it's tense. It's not strong. In order to have strong, you have to have strong and relaxed. So we're going to work on that today. I'm just going to walk you through a little exercise of relaxing your pelvic floor. It's really nice. It just takes a couple minutes. You can do this at bed when you're falling asleep. That's typically when I lay down. If only we could lay down in the middle of the day. If your babies are young still, when they're napping, just lay down and relax. Spend a minute to yourself relaxing. But more than anything, I want you to appreciate that your pelvic floor shouldn't be on all the time. I want you to know what it feels like to have a pelvic floor that can relax and to know that you're allowed to let it relax. That's super important after having babies. We're always trying to tense everything back up, but we want you to let it relax too. So you don't have to necessarily do this practice unless you have tension in your pelvic floor, but I do want you to know what it feels like to have a relaxed pelvic floor. Spend a minute making sure yours can relax and can contract, and then you know you're on the right track. So we're going to lie down. You're going to get a really comfortable position. If you'd like, you can have some pillows under your knees. You can have your legs straight. I like to have my knees bent just because it feels good on my back, which is actually aching a touch today from schlepping my 3-year-old around without thinking about my deep core. We all do it. So the first thing you're going to do is just close your eyes and let your body melt into the floor and just let it feel relaxed. You can rest your hands on your belly if you'd like. Partly that is soothing, but also it just lets us tune into our breathing. As we breathe in, our belly should rise as our diaphragm relaxes, and then as we exhale, it just sinks. We're not squeezing it as we exhale, we're just letting it sink. So let's just do that for a minute. Take a breath in, belly lifts, and then exhale, belly relaxes. Nice and slow breathing. You want to do 3 seconds if you can in. You can also let your ribs expand as you breathe, taking advantage of this lateral mobility you have here, like gills of a fish. As you inhale your breath, your ribs can come out to the side and then back in at the same time as your belly's rising. So I'll just show you what that looks like. Now you're probably a little more relaxed because you've actually just taken a few deep breaths. So you're going to stay in this nice relaxed position and you're going to tune into your pelvic floor. Notice, do you feel tension? Are you holding? Are you relaxed? Kind of what is the general state of your pelvic floor? If you need to, you can put a hand here between your legs and just feel for tension, or simply just remind yourself where your pelvic floor is. People ask me a lot in the clinic. They say, I read these instructions on how to relax my pelvic floor, but I can't really do it. So I'm going to walk you through this. You have one hand over your pubic bone, and then your tailbone is here, right, on the ground. You're laying on it, on your sacrum. These two bones make up the front and back of the pelvic floor. So as you relax, I want you to think about the pubic bone and the sacrum drifting away from each other. This is just raising and relaxing. At the same time, you're letting your sacrum sink into the ground. And first, just spend a minute getting a sense of that feeling. Feeling your pubic bone and your tailbone, finding them, touch them if you need to. It's very helpful. And then just let them move away from each other. Great. I bet that feels pretty nice. And then similarly, your sit bones, we call them, your ischial tuberosities, these bones right here that we sit on, thus the name sit bones, make up the two side bony prominences of your pelvic floor. So then this whole hammock of muscles exists here. So also, while you're thinking about front and back expansion, think about side to side expansion. So as you relax even more, let your sit bones just draw away from each other. Now these are super small movements. You may not actually feel any movement of your bony prominences, but I want you to just energetically let it open. Allow the sense that they're retracting away from each other, front and back, side to side. And then the bowl of your pelvic floor is able to just drop. You can even just let everything relax, let it drop down, let it drop away, let it sink into the ground, and then just take some more deep breaths. So instead of contracting on the exhale, we're going to take a deep breath in. Let everything open, and then as you exhale now, let everything drop away. Let the bottom of your pelvic floor open, and just notice, can it relax? Don't be afraid to let it relax. A lot of times if people have incontinence issues, relaxing the pelvic floor, or with prolapse also, relaxing the pelvic floor is very scary to them. They're afraid they're going to pee, they're afraid their prolapse is going to fall out. So these particular, those of us who've suffered from those problems, particularly tend to clench in our pelvic floor, which is just not healthy. So spend a minute allowing your pelvic floor just to relax. Don't be afraid. You're probably in the privacy of your own home. If you have severe incontinence and you accidentally leak a drop, no big deal. Although I really, really doubt that's going to happen. So just focus on your breath, breathing, your belly rises, your ribs expand, your pelvic floor drops. Then as you exhale, you sink down even more. Feel your sit bones draw away. Feel your pelvic, your pubic bone and your tailbone draw away from each other, and just let that whole bowl open up. This is nice. I might stay here for a while instead of picking up my 3-year-old from school. A little mama moment. Very important to know that you can relax. Good. And then I roll to my side, sit up slowly, just like they have you do in yoga class, right, when you're done. So now I actually feel a little more peaceful than I did 10 minutes ago. Hopefully you feel a little more peaceful than you did 10 minutes ago. And I also feel like my pelvis is just relaxed, knowing that that's just healthy. It's super important to have muscles that can relax as well as get strong. And so now you can relax your way to a healthy pelvic floor. Thanks for joining today. See you next time.